Hello, everyone. This is Phil Johnson, and with me today is Sherry Welsh of SherryWelsh.com. Sherry's a leadership coach, and she works with professionals, both individuals privately and with groups within companies. And I just want to encourage you all to get a copy of Sherry's book. It's called Slowing Down: Unexpected Ways to Thrive as a Female Leader. You can get that from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or other book retailers. Sherry, thanks so much for joining us today.
Hi, Phil. Thanks for having me.
Sherry, we've been talking about energy leadership and how you use the principles of energy leadership in your coaching practice. And we've been talking about the 7 levels of energy leadership along the continuum of energy, from catabolic or draining, exhausting energy, all the way up to anabolic, inspiring, uplifting energy. We've covered the first 4 levels, level 1, victim energy, level 2, fighter energy. And last time we talked about levels 3 and 4, the rationalizer and the caregiver. I wonder, could you give us just a brief recap of these 4 levels before we get into levels 5, 6, and 7 today?
Sure. So level 1, the victim energy, that's where you're in a state of helplessness. You're feeling like there's nothing you can do about a situation. You feel like you have to wait on somebody else or something else to happen before you can take action. So it's a very powerless feeling, a very powerless state. The next level up, level 2, is fighter energy. That's when at least you have a bit of movement. You're pushing forward, you're fighting with the day, fighting with time, arguing with someone to prove your point that you're right. Sometimes at level 2 you may get really frustrated because you're not making the progress you want to make. So at level 2 you at least have a little bit of momentum. It's a bit more than level 1. But again, it's still very catabolic at level 2. When you move into level 3, you're shifting into a more anabolic way of being. And at level 3, you're starting to use your brain to come up with a plan. You're starting to get very logical about what's next. What can you do about it? How can you solve this problem? So you can keep moving forward. So at level 3, you're getting much more productive. And you're getting closer to the targets, closer to the goals that you want to achieve. So level 3 is where most people hang out on a typical day. So it can be very useful, especially in a company, in getting products delivered, services provided. Level 3 is very useful. Mm-hmm. When you move into your level 4, that's when you're moving into service. And as human beings, we're created here, we're having an experience here to be of service to others. So at level 4, it's much more anabolic. It feels better to be helping others, to be doing what you can to make things easier for others. So at level 4, you're not focused on yourself anymore, and as much as how you can help others. So that's kind of a quick summary of the first 4 levels.
Great. Thank you. That's a good recap. And I think that will help frame our discussion of levels 5, 6, and 7, moving up the continuum towards more anabolic energy. So level 5 is the true partner, level 6 is the visionary, and level 7 is the creator. Can you give us a bit of an introduction to these?
Sure. So level 5 is a true partner. And the reason I say true partner is a lot of times in business, we have the belief that we're in partnership. And many times it's still their underlying driven, I have a product to sell to a customer and, I really need this sale. So I'm going to, I know it's going to be a win-win for both of us if they buy it for what I want to charge. And it's still a bit focused on me there instead of how does this product really serve this client? How do they truly benefit from it? And when the sale is done, how that both parties are feeling truly satisfied that this was really a great fit for both of us. That's a true partnership. That's a level 5 engagement. So level 5 shows up quite a bit. It's what I tell my clients, you want to aim to hang out in your level 5 space throughout the day, because that's where trust is built. That's where opportunities are seen. That's where movement towards common goals happen. So it's not falling into level 3 where you're focused on really, I got to meet my goal. And if you get yours too, that's great, but top priority is I get my goal. Level 5 is, it's what's best for both of us here. How can we both really benefit from what action we're going to take or what decision we're going to make? So when it's a boss-employee relationship, as a leader, you want to ensure that when you're working with your direct report or your employee, that they're really benefiting as much as you are with whatever's taking place. Mm-hmm. That's level 5 engagement. And both people feel equally supported, equally respected, equally fulfilled with what happens.
So level 5 is unique in what we've discussed so far, in that with levels 1 through 4, there were limited ways in which you were describing them as useful. But now with level 5, you're saying this is where we want to aim to spend a lot of our time. Is that right?
Right. Yeah. And it's really not just in the work environment. It's totally in life. Right. So it's really true partnership as it relates to personal relationships, friendships, marriages, parent-child relationships, where you truly see that what you're going to decide is going to be beneficial for both of you. Mm-hmm. Not just I win and maybe you do too, but truly, okay, let's go on this vacation because I really want to spend time there, and your partner or the other person is all in because they wanted to and it makes sense and it's going to be fun, and yeah, it's perfect for both of us. So it's a true win-win, not, yeah, I'll go because I want to please you. Or, yeah, I'll do it because you're the boss and I'm the employee and I want to make sure I please you, right? That's not a level 5 relationship. So a level 5 relationship is a really mature interaction between two people that has both of you leaving the situation feeling totally satisfied and that it really works for both of you. You didn't settle. Neither of you settled. So
in the office, talk a little bit about the difference between a level 5 boss and a level 4 boss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great question. Because what happens with level 4 energy, as we talked about a little bit last time, as a boss and you have a team of people that you're wanting to inspire and invigorate to move towards the goals that you've all agreed to and the goals that they all have as in their personal performance evaluations. So your job as a boss is to keep the team high performing and keep them moving. So as a level 4 boss, when you're down in your level 4 energy, what happens is you jump in and help your associates out as quickly as possible to keep things moving. So you jump in sometimes to the detriment of the employee, that they're not learning the skills that they need to learn because you keep jumping in and rescuing them. Mm-hmm. Or you keep jumping in and doing it for them just to get it done. So at level 4, you got to be careful when you're a level 4 boss. Now, being a level 4 boss is also very valuable and can be very useful when you have a new associate that's new to the company, right, or a younger associate that doesn't have a lot of experience.
Sometimes people really do need help.
Sure, absolutely. So you want to use your level 4 in that moment, at that time, in those instances, to really help that person build their self-confidence, build their skill set. And that's beautiful energy to use in that space. What you're going to find is as you allow that person to start to stand on their own 2 feet, so they're not as wobbly anymore, that you can move into your level 5 space to allow them to really step into their experience, step into their skills, step into their learning, so that they benefit equally. And then it frees you up as the boss to get back into what your roles and responsibilities are as the leader.
Right. So let's continue up the 7 levels now. Can you tell us a little bit more about the visionary, level 6?
Sure. At level 6, you're tapping into your inner wisdom. You have a high level of creativity in your level 6 space. And it's where you're really seeing opportunities everywhere that everyone can benefit from what's going on. You're able to pull up to be able to see the bigger picture, the total picture, not just the one person you're interacting with like you are at level 5, but you're able to kind of have the perspective where you see everyone that's involved. And when you're able to see at that level, at that viewpoint, what comes to you is different ideas, different synergies that kick in. And you really integrate people, you integrate situations so that everyone's benefiting. Not just the one person you're talking to, but you're able to think at a higher level. You're saying, if we make this decision, not only are you and I going to be better off and really be happy with this, it's going to benefit the extended team. It's going to benefit the entire company. It's going to benefit the consumer of our product, right? So you really see beyond just the interaction that you're involved in the moment.
So in level 5, it's a very positive energy. I'm really partnering with people. It's a win-win. Both parties are benefiting. But I'm still somewhat in the trenches. And level 6, I'm sort of above it all. I kind of have an overview of how everything's working together, and I can get a sense of the direction I should go with my team or something along those lines. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. And level 6 is very strategic. It's very creative. It's where your intuition kicks in. And so you have a sense of this direction. You have a sense of this decision, that it makes sense because, you can see how everything falls in place. Should you move in that direction? Should you get into that market? Should you sell this kind of product, right? You're able to see where it all fits together. That's the visionary capability of level 6.
Level 6 seems pretty good, but there's something beyond that even. Tell us a little bit more about level 7, the creator.
Yeah. So, when I work with my clients, I tell them that, level 7 is that place of sheer unconditional love, pure passion, non-judgment, like true non-judgment, that everything is perfect. There's, everyone and everything is perfect as it is. And it's a space that's very hard to comprehend for the mere mortal, the common man, common woman, because of what we see all around us. So when I talk about level 7, I say, Jesus and Buddha hang out there. That's their space. Yet we all have it in us, and we can all access it. And it's all really what's at our core is pure love. So in the workplace, in the business environment, where it comes up is when you see people like Steve Jobs that invented some breakthrough products that were beyond anything we could comprehend at our current state. That's level 7 energy. He was accessing his level 7 energy to be able to come up with some of the brilliant technology that we have today. And other inventors like that, right? And we all can do it. We all have it. It's just a matter of allowing ourselves to let the level 7 surface, because it's deep within. And what happens a lot of times is that our level 7 gets covered up with self-doubt or thoughts or competition or belief that there's not enough or belief that I got to be better than them. So it takes us out of that level 7 space and brings us down a couple notches, sometimes even down to to level 2 when you get frustrated because other people can't see what you can see, which is hard to describe and hard to comprehend. So sometimes you quickly fall out of level 7.
So level 7 is there within each of us. It's there, but it's covered up much of the time.
Yeah. So it's many times it's hard for my clients to understand how do I get more of this level 7? How do I get into that, pure state where time stands still, where, everything flows, where it's really joyful and beautiful, right? And what I share with them is that there's nothing to get to. There's nothing you need to do to get to your level 7. It's what you want to remove out of the way because it's always there in your core. So what's covering it up are your beliefs and your thoughts that something isn't perfect, that something's not the way it is, that it should be different. And whenever you hear yourself say, this should be different, or you should do that, or I should be doing something else, that's a judgment that you're putting on whatever the situation is. And when you kick into judgment, you've now dropped down to level 2. Level 2 is all about judgment. I'm right, you're wrong.
Yeah. I guess I'm thinking about level 7 and your illustration with Steve Jobs. He's working with the PC in its infancy, and he saw some places to take that technology that nobody else saw. And maybe I'm thinking, well, I'm not an inventor. I'm just an executive, or I'm just working my job, managing this or that. I don't need to invent anything. I don't need to create something. How is level 7 useful to me in my daily life at the office or in my relationships? How can I apply it?
It's a great question, to make it real, right? So level 7 is very building energy because it's 100% anabolic. And when we talked about catabolic and anabolic in the very beginning of our time together, anabolic energy inspires and lifts higher and feels better. So it's building a never-ending ability to have ideas and energy and strength and movement. So the higher levels you can have throughout your day, the longer you can perform throughout the day at a high level, right? So that's where level 7 is really building, strengthening energy that you want to access, as often as you can because it feels good. It's pure bliss in that space. So I share with clients when I have my son Jonathan when he was a baby, and I watch him sleep. Even today when he's 16, and I watch him sleep, I just look at him with this pure love. And it's just a peaceful feeling that just feels beautiful. It's hard to describe, and that space that you kind of want to last forever. And obviously, that's not what our world is made up of, as a general rule. So there's times when you can feel that level 7 energy and how beautiful it is, and it's kind of to remember that. So that when you're down in your level 1 and level 2 energy and you're feeling like there's no way out and you're feeling like, there's nothing you can do about it, knowing that there's that level 7 that's always there is almost like a trigger or mechanism to give you hope, to not give up, to be able to build back up so you can get back into that space because it feels so much better than being down in this level 1, level 2 space that I can get to. Okay.
So spending time in level 7 seems like it has a real rejuvenating effect.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and it's where breakthrough innovations, technology can come from. Breakthrough solutions to a typical problem that you've been having for many days, many months. Nothing's been able to break it through. That's where level 7 is really useful in the workplace, right? So So regardless of whether you're the inventor or you're the CEO or whoever you are, at any level in a company, you can benefit from accessing your level 7 space because it just breaks things up to freedom. And that's maybe the right word, the freedom that you get when you're in that space. And so you just, everything makes sense. Everything falls into place, and it's perfect the way it is. That's when you've moved into your level 7 space.
Okay. How
so
about
it's not hard, it doesn't feel like you have to work hard to make a decision. It doesn't feel like you have to work hard to move forward. It just moves. It flows.
Yeah. You also mentioned that level 7 is very non-judgmental, and I could see in the office setting, there's kind of this a relationship between level 7 and level 2, where level 2 seems like everything is judgmental, and level 7, you're able to step outside of that. How would that play out in the office?
Yeah, and you're right. Level 7 in the pure non-judgment, what that means is that there's no comparison, there's no competition, there's no I'm better than you or they're better than us. That doesn't exist at level 7. Level 7 is a state of being where you can create anything from that state of mind, because there's nothing in the way. There's no limiting factors at level 7. Down at level 2, it's all about fighting to be better, fighting to prove you're right, fighting against time, fighting that, this should be different than it is. And so you get frustrated that it is what it is instead of pure acceptance of it. It is what it is, and that's beautiful. At level 2, it's, damn it, I don't want it to be this. I want it to be something different. And so you're constantly in a battle with a situation, with a person, with a manufacturing plan, with a market condition, with a colleague, with the mother company, whatever is happening in your world at level 2, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
And at level 7, there's no drain on you. It's continuous energy flowing. So there's nothing blocking, the beauty of life, the life force, basically, constantly flowing through you. I know I shared an example of a musician who has the music flowing through them, and a song just kind of downloads from above, right? And they say, how did you come up with the song? Where did you find the lyrics? And a musician will say, they just came to me. They just flow through me. Mm-hmm. That's level 7 space.
Yeah.
And the same can be accessed in a business environment.
Right. So to be able to clear away all that stuff that's going on in our heads, the stories we might be telling ourselves about what other people think, different beliefs we have about the rest of the world, and get to that level 7 space can be really rejuvenating, really give us a peace in the middle of our day, if we can tap into that.
Exactly. And again, because of what's going on around us, just what you said, right? That, the media reports or the boss tells you that we have to cut the budget by 20%. So now fear kicks in, that we're not going to be able to hire the people we were going to hire to help us get the work done. Now we're going to, not be able to travel to the customer, and so it's going to hurt the relationship. Now we're not going to be able to do this. We're not going to be able to do that. Whatever information is circulating that creates a sense of limitation, a sense of doom, a sense of restriction, that's what we're surrounded by, especially in the global marketplace. And competition is, that word, some people say they thrive on it. Really, competition creates, takes you out of your level 7 space and takes you down into level 2 to fight for your market share, fight for your number 1 position, fight for your customer, right? Fight to meet the deadlines, fight to launch on time, fight to get the costs under budget. It's just a level 2 is all around us. And so that's the challenge we have as leaders in companies and leaders in our lives, is to really question, how true is it that it's limited? How true is it that the money is that tight? Let's look at where else we're spending money. Yeah. Where would we like to spend it instead? Let's get creative. Now you're moving back up into your level 6 space, where you get creative, where you brainstorm ideas, where there's no limits. All ideas count, right? There's no bad idea. Mm-hmm. So what happens with these energy levels is they interplay with each other.
Yeah.
And the more aware you get, more self-aware you get of where you are in that moment, which level you're hanging out in that moment, the more conscious you are to choose, is this working for me? Is this where I want to be? Mm-hmm. Is this the best place for me to be right now, given what I want to do, given what I'm up to? And sometimes level 4 is really a great place to be, to help some of those associates that are struggling, to help, some of those people that are new to the company that don't know the politics or the culture or the processes.
Right.
So when you can consciously choose and pay attention to what would be the most useful space to be in, that's the power of energy leadership. That's the brilliance of it.
Well, that's I think a really good conclusion to our discussion today. I feel like, having now talked about all 7 levels, I'm getting a better picture of that interplay. And I think, it surprised me when we talked about level 1 and level 2 that there is usefulness there, even in those catabolic forms of energy. And level 7, as beautiful as it is, it seems like that's not where work gets done. So it's a very complete kind of picture. Steve Jobs touched level 7, envisioned some things, but then he came down to earth and also got them done.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so he fluctuated throughout, right? There's stories of him and his level 2 energy, screaming and yelling at people. Mm-hmm. I'm sure frustration built for him. Probably things didn't get done fast enough for his desire, and understandably, given his life was shortened, right? So he had a lot he wanted to do in a shorter amount of time. And then level 5, I'm sure he resided in quite a bit. That really he was looking at true partnership with how he can, get the best out of all of the people that he was working with, as well as that giving him self-satisfaction, that he was making a difference and contributing to the world in a way that made sense.
Yeah. Sherry, thanks so much for being with us today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you, Phil.
And thank you also for listening today. I hope you have appreciated this discussion over these past 3 podcasts of the 7 levels of energy leadership. And I'd invite you to join us again next time. We'll be talking about what gets in the way of our spending more time in level 5 as a true partner and level 6 as a visionary, and how we can shift out of the more catabolic levels to more productive levels. For Sherry Welsh today, this is Phil Johnson.